What's Gucci people? It's Poetic here. And today I'm going to be showing you my 5 point whatever version of SWTOR this is tank guide. Um in my opinion, Sin tanking is the greatest of the tanks. Um Perfect off tank, very capable main tank. Um all around nice abilities, all around nice threat generation. Uh The greatest thing about Zen tanking is this button right here, Force Route, but we will go over that later. For starters, I'm going to go over your utilities. Um, in the skillful, you want to have avoidance and lambast, right? So avoidance breaks, it reduces the cooldown of jolt by 2 seconds, unbreakable will by 30 seconds, and for speed by 5 seconds. Jolt is your interrupt, and so you always want to have that available, especially for if you're on Sorno, getting rid of his heal, corruptors in Dread Fortress is good for that. Lots of fights you want to have your interrupt available. Unbreakable will by 30 seconds, that is a mainstay. If you ever get stunned or something is holding you, you want to be able to pop that as much as possible. And force speed by 5 seconds. Mobility for a Sin tank is top tier. Like, we have the greatest mobility of the tanks. And so just by doing this, you are being even more mobile. And force speed can act as another defensive, but we are going to go over that later. Lambast increases the damage dealt by lacerate by 25%. AoEs for Sin Tank are amazing because they all generate high amounts of threat, and being able to do 25% more damage from one of your AoEs just increases that threat. And this is amazing for mobs. So let's see. In Dread Fortress, after Draxus, there's that gigantic mob. You really don't even have to pop a AoE taunt. You can just spam lacerate, fluff your numbers, and just generate high amounts of threat just by doing lacerate. It's amazing. In Masterful, you want to have Fade, and you want to have I can't pronounce that shit worth the damn. This does increase your movement speed by 15 seconds, by 15%, and effective stealth level by 10. This is just more mobility. As I said before, you want to be as mobile as possible as a tank, because there are fights where there is a lot going on. Say, the first boss of TFB. How the boss just moves around every which way. You want to be able to get to the boss as quick as possible. Fade reduces the cooldown by Force Cloak by 45 seconds and extends its duration by 5 seconds. Okay, time for the mainstays of Sin tanking. Force Cloak is amazing, right? It drops all your threat and takes you out of combat. This allows you to cheese combat res. You don't have to. You can effectively have multiple combat reses in a fight. So say someone important dies and you're not the main tank, and if there's nothing going on at that time, instead of popping a battle res, instead of your healers popping a battle res, you can force cloak out, pop a revive, and then get them up without having a battle res. And because you pop force cloak, you're gonna be out of combat for for a while. And you can, and by doing and reducing the cooldown of Force Cloak by 45 seconds is a mainstay, because there are a lot of fights where by Force Cloaking, you basically cheese a mechanic and stop it from happening. Like in the first boss of TFB, as I said earlier, in hard mode, the boss places a debuff on you, and if that when the tank swap comes up, if you don't force clout, if you can force cloak out, and a mechanic is entirely skipped because of that. So, shit's amazing. You always want to have fade up in PvE sin thinking. It's fucking awesome. Going down the list, Shroud of Madness in Heroic and Immersion. Force speed grants immersion, removing all movement impairing effects and granting immunity to them for the duration. This basically is another unbreakable will, like a soft unbreakable will, if you want to say that. So if you have a slow on you or a dot, you can pop that and you're off to the races. It's just even more mobility. Shroud of Madness, activating Force Cloak, grants 2 seconds of Force Shroud. This is, again, what I have said earlier. You pop Force Shroud, you get... you pop Force Cloak, you gain Force Shroud. So basically, you pop Force Cloak and you gain a defensive. That's also another way to cheese mechanics. So like in Titan 6 in hard mode, there's a tank swap when the boss throws a giant bomb on you. Right before the bomb hits, you can force cloak out and you won't take any damage. And that bomb does like a shit ton, like 100k damage. Right, so it takes you down like the 20% or whatever. You can pop force cloak and that shit just won't happen. And then down in Legendary, Disjunction and Phasing Phantasm. Phantom Stride can be used while immobilized and purchase movement impairing effects when used. Additionally, Force Speed grants Phasing Phantasm, causing you to absorb 60% of all incoming damage for the duration of Force Speed. Amazing! This just breaks our mobility roof, like ceiling to the fucking stars, right? So you can use Phantom Stride in the same way you used instead of the same way you would use Force Speed earlier. So if your Force Speed's on cooldown, you can use Phantom Stride and break that slow. And it's basically another unbreakable will. So say you're CC'd or stunned, pop Phantom Stride and you're just not stunned anymore. It's amazing, right? And then Force Speed causes you to absorb 60% of all incoming damage. If you know a big hit might come up, you can pop Force Speed, absorb 60% of that shit, and it's basically another defensive. Amazing. Disjunction increases the duration of Force Shroud by 2 seconds and Force Speed by half a second. Additionally, Force Speed slows all enemies within 5 meters for 75% for 2.5 seconds when activated. Alright, the only reason we take this is because of Force Shroud. Alright, the longer your Force Shroud is, like, the more damage you can absorb, right? So Force Shroud absorbs a shitload of everything, and the longer that activates, the more you can just stay in shit, like, without having a fucking care in the world. Like, say you're tanking a Master in Ravagers and he does his little fire circle of death thing, you can pop Force Shroud and then just stay there, like, and keeping the boss where it is without fucking moving around and causing all the DPS to get fucking mollywopped. Right, shit's amazing. And then it just makes Force Speed last longer than usual. More mobility. The last part of that is a PvP mechanic, and we're not worried about that right there. Anyway, that's the utility points that you basically want to have at all times. Depending on the fight, you can have Retaliatory Grip, and that is basically a reflect. Keep in note that it has to be a single target for you to reflect it. So if it's an AoE, it doesn't reflect. And it only lasts for 12 seconds. So that's a thing. Basically everything else is PvP mechanic type shit, right? So yeah. Next, we're gonna go over defensives. All right, mainstays of any tank is survivability. Sin tanking is all about mitigation, and all of your defensives, which I have right here, the bottom, are like geared towards that. So for the OP ability, Force Shroud purges all hostile removable effects, so basically a cleanse, and increases your chance to resist force and tech attacks by 200% for 5 seconds. All right. Fucking OP as hell. So basically, trying to think of a big ass hit. Oh yeah. Fucking SMVHM, right? Boss throws a fucking grenade on you. You can pop Force Shroud. You won't take any fucking damage from that grenade. Like, at all. You stay at the health you're at. It's fucking amazing. In, let's say, Dread Fortress hard mode, and you're tanking the fucking hands, and they're fucking slamming you, you can pop Force Shroud, and that slam won't affect you at all, right? It also works as a cleanse. So say you're in Dread Palace hard mode, and you get the dot on you, you can pop Force Shroud, gets rid of that fucking dot, right? Fucking amazing as shit. This is your main defensive, right? It's fucking OP. What makes Sin tanks, in my opinion, better than Jugs, and fucking a million times better than Power Techs. Your next one, is your Relic, right? Relic of the Shrouded Crusader. So what it does is just increases shield rating and absorption rating by 487 for 20 seconds, right? It's basically used as an extra defensive. The more you can mitigate, the better. Blah blah blah. Deflection is another one of your main cooldowns. Increases your ranged and melee defensive by 50 seconds for 15 seconds. So basically, it's kind of like Force Shroud, except 100. Except, you're half of the damage that you not half. I'm sorry. Most of the damage that will hit you, a lot of the times it will be deflected or anything, or absorbed of some shit, right? Or fucking, yeah, any of that shit, or shielded, any of that, right? I always pop deflection first, and it's that good. Your next one is Overcharge Saber. Overcharge your lightsaber charge for 15 seconds, immediately restoring 15% of your max health, increasing the damage of all charges by 50%, increasing the chance to trigger their effects by 25%, and healing you for that number. When their effects are triggered, the triggered healing cannot occur more than once per second, right? Basically, it heals you for 15% of your health, right? So it's a good defensive to use. This also activates Dark Charge. I forgot what Dark Charge was because let me see if I can find it. Honestly, they got rid of the fucking talent trees. Actually, that shit off the back of my hand. Don't even see it. So, yeah. Fucking bullshit. But anyway, it used to be an OPS defensive better than fucking deflection. But now I just use it as a heal. It heals you for 15% of your health. I usually use it to help the healers out when I'm at, let's say 60% health, and the healers are having a tough time keeping up. Pop that shit, you're back to 75%, and they don't have to work as hard. The next defensive is your Shield Adrenal. Absorbs 30% of damage, up to a massive amount of damage for 15 seconds. Basically another cooldown. I usually use this for a lot of times for burn phases, if I haven't used an attack Adrenal. So like say SNVHM and burn phase, the fucking dog and Styrak are all huge, and fucking The dog is doing massive AoE damage. Pop fucking adrenal, and you absorbing most of that shit. It's fucking amazing. Next is fake health, basically a med pack. Always keep a med pack on you. And then as I've said before, for speed. I use that as another fucking defensive. It's fucking amazing as shit. Next, we're going to go over the rotation. It's the most important part of any tank. Or any class, really, is your rotation. Except healers. They don't have a fucking rotation. What I use is called triple taunt rotation. Right? So basically, Dark Ward, Force Pull, Phantom Stride, Shock, Mind Control, Wither, and then my fucking abilities. So basically what happens is, pop this shit, Dark Ward, surrounds you in a Dark Ward with 15 charges that increase your shield chance by 15% by 20 seconds. Each time you successfully shield, Dark Ward loses 1 charge. Right? So for 20 seconds, you have a chance to shield an attack 15 times. It always have this up. Always. When you're done with your rotation, pop this shit again. Right? Force Pull acts as a taunt. It pulls the target towards you. Everyone should know that shit. And they automatically are attacking you. Phantom Stride acts as another taunt. It moves you towards the target and increases threat by a shit ton. Right? So it's basically a taunt, then another taunt. You shock, and then use Mind Control, which is your main taunt. Right? And then use Wither. And what Wither does is an AoE, but it with the set bonus on your gear, which everyone should have, Wither decreases the cooldown on both of your taunts, Mind Control, and Mass Mind Control by like 2 or 3 seconds or some shit. Right? So after every taunt, you want to pop Wither. AoE taunt, pop Wither. Single target taunt, pop Wither. You want to have your taunt up as much as possible. Right? So, see what this shit does. See what it should look like anyway. Far away. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom. And you see the fucking cooldown on that shit drop by like 3 seconds. Fucking amazing. Easy shit. Right? That's the triple threat. That's the triple taunt rotation. Right? Other than that, it's very simple. After Wither, you pop Discharge, then Thrash, Recklessness, Maul, and Thrash and Maul should prop Shock again. So you pop you Shock again, and then as soon as you use Shock once again, because if you use Shock twice and Wither once, it procs Deprecating Volts. Right? So easy shit. You want to always pop Shock twice, Wither once in your rotation to always have Deprecating Volts procced. You always want to use Thrash and Maul to proc Shock. Sometimes it doesn't proc, but you still want to use it just to proc Deprecating Volts. Another thing is Lacerate can also proc it. Well, it procs Maul, and that might, like, Lacerate can proc Maul, and it can also proc Shock, right? Easy shit. With the proc Maul, the force used to do it is halved. So instead of costing 20 force, it only costs 10. Right? And as a Sin tank, you shouldn't be below 50 force at all times. Like, it just shouldn't happen. So, to give you a rundown of the full rotation. Just like that. This. Boom. 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 and then I use Saber Strike just to get a little bit of force back, and then Dark Ward again, and then back into it. Easy shit. Alright. So, next what I want to talk about is your AoEs, which is Wither, Discharge, and Lacerate. You always, like, the beauty about Sin tanking is that your AoEs cause massive threat, and that is the mainstay. That's the main part of tanking, is to have the highest threat in the fucking group, right? So in order to do that, you always want to be popping Wither and Discharge, and you want to pop Lacerate on fucking mobs. So if you're in a fucking if you're in a fucking trash pool, your main shit should be fucking Wither, Discharge, and then just spamming the shit out of Lacerate. Alright, because you're gonna have the fucking highest threat imaginable. Alright, you're probably gonna pull off your off tank. You're definitely gonna pull off a power tech. Sorry, white, but I'm getting pulled off of. Anyway, next I want to talk about guards. Alright, if you're in a flashpoint, you can really guard whatever. I guard the healer. But when you're if you're in a raid, you want to guard the highest DPS. Right? You want to prioritize melee DPS over range DPS. So if range is doing their job, they're at max range. It's like 35 meters for snipers, 30 meters for fucking mercs and sorks. Right? So you should not have to worry about that if they're at max range. But you want to guard, right? And it only works when the target is in 15 meters, which is why you prioritize melee. Because if you have a 248 Fury Marauder and all 240 Augs, they're going to pull off you if they're not being guarded, right? Like, no matter what. So in that case, you want to use your opening rotation twice, besides Force Pull and fucking Phantom Stride. So you use your opening rotation, Force Pull and Phantom Stride, then taunt. And then when you come back around, you use Dark Ward, Shock, and taunt again. That just makes sure that you have the highest threat. Sometimes what I do, if I know someone specific is going to pull off me and I can't guard them, I fucking use Mind Control, Wither, and then pop a mass Mind Control. That way, my fucking threat is fucking through the roof, right? So always guard highest melee DPS, and then you want to guard highest range DPS. Guarding the healers is fine, but your main focus is keeping the boss centered on you, and bosses and a lot of ads usually don't go to the healers. They do generate a lot of threat, but you know, if you're doing your job right, you should always be at the top of the fucking threat meter. A trick I have learned is to let your melee DPS pull first, right? And that allows you to pull off of them, dropping their threat, and it drops their threat and increases your threat, so that you're always at the top of the threat table. So to give you a clue of what that looks like, I'm just gonna go like this, and let them take it, then go into yours. Easy shit. All right. Boom. Then I'm here. Pop this shit just to get a little bit of force back, and then I'm back into the fucking rotation. Easy shit. Sin tanking is very easy. If you need to move quick, use force speed when Phantom Stride's off cooldown, or use Phantom Stride if that shit's off cooldown. Very simple, very simple. All right. And that's basically it. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. You can find me on the Star Forge server, Poetic Typhlosion, and have a good day. Yeah.